New York, now the hardest hit state in the nation with more than 20,000 confirmed cases of the coronavirus and more than 13,000 of them in New York City alone. The National Guard now being deployed to build makeshift hospitals amid the surge. Here with an update is New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio. Mayor, good morning to you. Thank you very much for joining us. We saw the president tweeted out this morning this. He said, the world market for face masks and ventilators is crazy. We are helping the states to get equipment. It is not that easy. Just got 400 ventilators for Mayor de Blasio. Work beginning on 4 hospitals in New York. Millions of different items coming. That's your question, isn't it? When are the things going to get there?
That's exactly right, Steve. You know, look, I've spoken to the president, and I appreciate that he understands just how crucial it is to get those ventilators to New York City. That is the difference, Steve, between someone who's suffering in one of our hospitals who might make it if they have access to a ventilator, but if we can't have them on the ventilator at the right time, we could lose a lot of lives who otherwise could pull through. And I do appreciate that the president and his team is focused on that. We're going to need a lot. Our estimate is approximately 15,000 before this is over because of the sheer growth pattern you mentioned. This thing is moving rapidly, and I think April is going to be a lot worse than March, and I fear that May even be worse than April. And that's just New York City. It's then going to be happening more and more in other parts of the country as well. And so, Steve, I have to emphasize our hospitals, in a matter of days or weeks, depending on the hospital, are going to be stressed to the point that they cannot provide the kind of health care we're used to unless we can get them a huge resupply of equipment, supplies, personnel. And our hospitals, bluntly, are going to start to go broke. And that's why, all partisanship aside, what's being talked about now in the stimulus bill is crucial. Direct support for public and private hospitals, because if they cannot pay the bills, and this is true all over the country, if they can't pay the bills, health care will decline rapidly overall, not just about coronavirus, overall. And this is the thing I'm focused on. We got to shore up our hospitals quick.
Well, particularly in New York City, Mayor, because I heard Dr. Birx last night in that 2-hour-long press conference with the president say that New York City, the rate of attack is 1 in 1,000, which is jaw-dropping, that New York has 5 times the rate of infection over other parts of the country. And so you've got this problem, and you just mentioned that you think that April and May are going to be really bad for New York City. So you, in addition to the National Guard, you're thinking maybe this should involve a larger portion of our federal military, right?
That's right, Steve. I mean, look, I think the United States military is a force unlike any in the world in terms of its ability to organize, mobilize, do logistics, move material all over the country, and they happen to have some of the finest medical personnel anywhere. Right now, the epicenter is New York City. But we see it happening more and more in other parts of the country. You're starting to see Florida, Louisiana, Georgia, all sorts of states are going to go through their wave next. The only force, I think, that can keep up with the need to constantly move supplies and equipment where they're needed, and doctors, nurses, other medical personnel where they're needed, is going to be the U.S. military. National Guards are great within each state. But I think we are seeing these dominoes start to fall, Steve. This is a national crisis. The only parallel, I think, is not only the 1918 Spanish influenza, but the Great Depression itself in terms of the sheer national impact into people's lives. And I think we have to recognize, if the military is mobilized quickly, they actually could set up a structure to make sure supplies go where they're needed first, then they can be transferred to the next state in greatest need, the next state. The doctors, nurses could be moved around. But there's no other force in America that could possibly do that besides our military.
Right. I know that Peter Navarro is now the point person from the administration that you deal with on a daily basis, and that's great because, you know, we want all the supplies that are needed by the various cities to get them as quickly as possible. But New York is a unique situation because you've got so many people on that island and in the 5 boroughs. I mean, in Manhattan, I think you got 28,000 people per square mile. Are you thinking about any other restrictions on people, in the days ahead, just so that they have a social distance of 6 feet or something else just to keep it from spreading?
Yeah, Steve, it's a great question. The first thing I want to say is I'm very appreciative that President Trump named Peter Navarro to follow up, because he's been doing an amazing job. I spoke to him many times yesterday. He's all over it, and I'm very thankful for that. In terms of the question you ask, I want to emphasize that the spread pattern, even though, sure, it gets more intense in a big urban area like this, I don't think anybody in this country should rest assured that there's not going to be spread in every part of the country. It's just the nature of the virus. And I think people have to understand this is not about blue states, red states, the coasts, or the heartland. Unfortunately, it's here in all 50 states. And the smart thing we can do is get ahead of it. So to your question, look, in this city, we have the finest police force anywhere in the world. And Commissioner Dermot Shea said just yesterday, they're going to go out and do what they do so well. Show people the right way to do things. Communicate with the folks of this city and say, you got to keep that distance. Now, Steve, if you're a family, you live under the same roof, social distancing is a different reality because you're already in that deep contact. If you're going out to the park, families are staying close together, that's fine. But for other people, anyone who is not from the same exact family unit, the same, people live under the same roof, we're going to keep that 6 feet apart rule. We're not going to allow any gatherings. I'm a guy who loves sports, but we're not, unfortunately, going to even be able to allow team sports. We have to keep people separated. So our men and women of the NYPD will be out there spreading the message, telling people break it up if they have to break it up, move along. No lines tight together at a grocery store, no grocery stores full up. If we do this right, and I think people are getting it, Steve, I really do. I think they're hearing the message, and the media has played a very important role here, helping people understand just how serious this is. I think we see more and more, and our police commissioner said it. He's been all over the city the last few days. He said he's so impressed at the number of people who are following the rules, and I think this week even more, since we now are officially in this pause in New York State. Life is going to be very different. But if we do this all over the country, we can actually slow this thing down and keep our hospitals running. And that's the other thing I want to say, Steve. People have to understand, if we don't knock this thing down, our healthcare system cannot handle this strain if it comes on too fast. And that's just not just for folks with coronavirus. That's for all the other healthcare challenges, all the folks with cancer and heart disease. We have to protect everyone in danger by keeping our hospitals going. And that means that social distancing is the key to slowing this thing down.
Absolutely. And New York City is, of course, as we've been talking, the epicenter of it right now here in the United States. Mayor de Blasio, thank you very much. We know you get your hands full. Please come back to update us on what you're getting, what you're needing, and how the city of New York is coping.
Thank you, Steve.